It's a story that shocked the country. Josh Powell, once a suspect in his wife Susan's disappearance, blew his house up with their 2 kids inside. Susan has never been found. And today, in a Crime Watch Daily exclusive, Josh Powell's sister is speaking out about the case that still haunts her. Here's Jason Matera.
She's the sister of a monster. A father who did the unthinkable. Locked himself inside a house with his 2 small children, then blew it up.
And I just dropped off the children and he wouldn't let me in the door. And then he blew up the house and the kids.
2 years earlier, in a case that made national headlines, Josh Powell was suspected in the baffling disappearance of his wife Susan. A mystery that left the entire country wondering what really happened to Susan Powell.
I just remember going numb, sinking to the ground, just wondering what to do. Like, how do you deal with that? What do I do now?
And now, after years of silence, Jennifer speaks out, only to Crime Watch Daily for the first time on national television, offering a shocking insight on how she turned against her own brother, working with the police in hopes of finding out the truth once and for all.
I was just like, tell me where her body is.
To all appearances, Josh and Susan Powell, along with their boys, Charlie 4 and Braden 2, are a normal, attractive young family living in West Valley City, Utah. But all is not well in the Powell household.
I was surprised at how negative some aspects of their relationship were. Even at that time, had a lot of tension between them. Their marriage was already displaying signs of distress. Josh had controlling issues.
Even Susan seems to know that she's in great danger.
Did Susan ever write anything in her journal, a warning almost, something that would indicate her life was in jeopardy or she feared that her life would be in jeopardy?
I found out that she had written what she called a will and testament, saying that she did fear for her life, and if she ever turned up dead, to come and talk to me, because I would know that it wasn't an accident.
Susan even made this haunting home video expressing her fear.
This is me, covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. And Josh felt the need to bust a hole in the wall. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
Then one morning, Jennifer gets news that immediately sends chills up her spine.
My mom met me on the stairs with the phone in her hand, saying that the boys had never been dropped off to daycare. At that point, it was really concerning because Susan is extremely responsible.
When they can't reach Josh or Susan on their cell phones, police break into their house with Jennifer close behind.
I went into the bedroom and looked around. I saw across on the table under the window Susan's purse. There was her wallet, her keys, other things in there, and I was really concerned. One of the officers said, "He's cleaned the carpets, that's why the fans are going." And it suddenly just hit me. He's done something to her.
Hours later, Josh reappears with the 2 boys, but no Susan. He says they went camping in a snowstorm after leaving Susan home alone.
At this point, what are you thinking?
And when he came home with the boys and without Susan, I was like, oh crap, this is not good. This is just confirmation that he's done something to her.
Jennifer isn't the only one with deep suspicions. A friend who had seen Susan that night said Josh had cooked pancakes for dinner, and Susan grew very sleepy afterwards.
She ended up going to bed early. I think it just all ended up happening later that night. He took her somewhere, and I don't know what happened after that. But she was obviously not in a state to defend herself.
The police have a few questions for Josh, too. and haul him in for interrogation.
Do you feel like you're under arrest?
I don't know. I don't know where she's at, and she ain't back yet. The closest people to a person is always the top suspects. I mean, let me think about it for a couple days and...
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but I've always...
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
And one other thing.
Your children are telling our detectives that Mom went with you guys last night and that she didn't come back.
She was not with us. And if my kids said that...
So your kids lie then? Do your kids lie?
Sometimes they do.
A few days later, Josh takes the kids and moves in with his and Jennifer's father, Stephen Powell, in Puyallup, Washington.
Were you bothered that the kids were now in the same house as your dad?
I grew up with my dad, so I knew what kind of person he was. He had a pornography problem. So the fact that they were there in that environment was quite disturbing.
She is certain that Josh, and possibly their father, knows what happened to Susan, and she is determined to find out by doing the unthinkable. Next, in a Crime Watch Daily exclusive, Jennifer reveals for the first time how she made the most frightening decision of her life.
It suddenly occurred to me, I wonder if the police would back me up. Maybe I could get a wire.
Trying to get her own family members to confess to murder.
You just show up at the house unannounced, wearing a wire.
It was the scariest thing I've probably ever done.
And we'll hear what Jennifer was able to uncover while wearing that wire and the shocking items police would find in her father's attic. That's coming up. And here's a look at what else you'll see today on Crime Watch Daily.